Beneath the streets of modern Rome lies a secret that most tourists will never discover. The Colosseum is not just a building. It is a giant stone witness to one of history's most powerful empires. And tonight, we uncover the true story hidden within its ancient walls. For nearly 2,000 years, this massive structure has stood in silence. But if these stones could speak, they would tell us tales of glory, of blood, of secrets buried deep beneath the arena floor. Most people visit the Colosseum and see only ruins. They take photographs and walk away. But very few understand what really happened here. Very few know the mysteries that archaeologists are still uncovering to this day. Let us begin our journey into the heart of Rome's greatest giant. The year was 72 AD. Emperor Vespasian gave an order that would change history forever. He commanded the construction of the largest amphitheater the world had ever seen. But here is something remarkable. He chose to build it on the exact spot where the previous Emperor Nero had created a private paradise for himself. Nero had drained a small valley and filled it with a luxurious artificial lake surrounded by gardens. It was a symbol of his selfish power. But Vespasian wanted to send a different message. He would give this land back to the people. He would transform a place of royal pleasure into a place of public spectacle. And so, the construction began. What happened next defies imagination. Over 60,000 Jewish prisoners, captured after the destruction of Jerusalem, were brought to Rome as slaves. These men carried stones weighing several tons each. They worked under the burning sun and the freezing cold. Many did not survive. Within just 8 years, the impossible was achieved. The Colosseum stood complete, rising nearly 50 meters into the sky, stretching over 180 meters in length, capable of holding more than 50,000 spectators. But the true engineering marvel was hidden beneath the arena floor. Below the sand, where gladiators fought, existed an underground world called the Hypogeum. This was a complex maze of tunnels, chambers, and mechanical systems. Wild animals from Africa and Asia were kept in cages down there. Lions, tigers, elephants, and even rhinoceroses waited in darkness before being lifted up through trapdoors into the arena above. The Romans had invented a system of pulleys and elevators that could raise these massive creatures in seconds. Imagine the terror of the crowd as a lion suddenly appeared from nowhere in the center of the arena. This technology was so advanced that modern engineers still study it with amazement. But the Colosseum held even darker secrets. On the opening day, Emperor Titus declared 100 days of games. During these celebrations, ancient historians tell us that over 9,000 animals were killed. The sand of the arena turned red with blood. The air filled with sounds that we can barely imagine today. Gladiators, most of them slaves or prisoners of war, faced each other in combat. Some fought for freedom. Some fought simply to survive another day. The crowd would decide their fate with a gesture of the thumb. Yet, here is something that many do not know. Not all gladiators were forced into the arena. Some were volunteers. They were drawn by the promise of fame, wealth, and glory. In the streets of Rome, successful gladiators were treated like celebrities. Women admired them. Men wanted to be them. But fame came at a terrible price. The average gladiator did not live past the age of 30. Every time they stepped onto the sand, they knew it might be their last moment on earth. They would look up at 50,000 faces staring down at them, and they would whisper a phrase that has echoed through history. "We who are about to die salute you." The Colosseum was more than just an arena for entertainment. It was a powerful tool of political control. the emperors understood something profound about human nature. If you give people bread and spectacles, they will forget their troubles. They will not question your power. Free food and free games kept the citizens of Rome satisfied. While the empire conquered nations and accumulated wealth beyond measure, the common people remained distracted by blood and sand. This strategy worked for centuries, but nothing built by human hands lasts forever. In the year 217 AD, lightning struck the Colosseum and caused a massive fire. The wooden upper levels were destroyed. It took years to repair the damage. This was the first sign that the giant was not immortal. Then came the earthquakes. In 443 AD, and again in 1349 AD, powerful earthquakes shook Rome and caused large sections of the outer wall to collapse. The stones that had stood for centuries came crashing down. But the greatest destruction came not from nature. It came from human hands. For hundreds of years, the Colosseum was used as a quarry. Builders came and took its precious marble and travertine stones to construct churches, palaces, and other buildings across Rome. The very stones that slaves had carried with their blood and sweat were stripped away piece by piece. By the medieval period, the once mighty Colosseum had become a ruin. Plants grew from its walls. Animals made homes in its corridors. Families built small houses inside its arches. The giant had fallen. Yet somehow, the Colosseum refused to disappear completely. Its skeleton remained standing against all odds. And slowly, people began to see it differently. They began to recognize its historical importance. They began to protect what was left. Today, the Colosseum stands as one of the most visited monuments on Earth. Over 7 million people walk through its gates every year. They come from every corner of the world to witness this ancient wonder. But what lessons does this giant teach us? The Colosseum reminds us that empires rise and empires fall. The Romans believed their power would last forever. They built monuments they thought would stand until the end of time. Yet today, we walk among their ruins. This is a profound reminder of a truth that echoes through all sacred teachings. The life of this world is temporary. Power and glory are fleeting shadows. The mightiest structures crumble. The greatest emperors are forgotten. What remains eternal is something else entirely. It is mercy. It is compassion. It is the way we treat those who are weaker than ourselves. The Colosseum stands as a monument to human achievement, but also as a warning. For all its engineering brilliance, it was built on suffering. Its sands were soaked with innocent blood. The one who created the heavens and the earth has taught us a different path. A path of justice and kindness. A path where the strong protect the weak rather than destroy them. When we look at the Colosseum today, let us remember both its wonder and its warning. Let us appreciate the genius of human creativity while recognizing the darkness that can exist in human hearts. And let us turn our own hearts toward the light. For the true measure of any civilization is not the size of its monuments. It is the depth of its mercy. It is the sincerity of its worship. It is the love it shows to every soul. The Colosseum will continue to crumble. Stone by stone, century by century, it will return to dust. But the lessons it teaches can live forever in our hearts. May we build our lives not on sand and blood, but on faith and compassion. May we remember that we are all travelers in this world, passing through on our way to an eternal home. And may the one who sees all things guide us to be among those who build with love, rather than those who destroy with pride. The giant sleeps now, but its story continues to speak across the ages. Listen carefully, and let its echoes transform your heart. Peace be upon those who seek the truth.